Welcome to Black and Blue Garage. Today I'm going to be installing this. This is a 2-liter coolant reservoir that I bought on Amazon. It's the biggest one that I could find. Unfortunately, it's plated in some kind of chromium, but it's aluminum, and if it doesn't leak, it'll work just for what I need it. Now this reservoir has this tube that comes out of the tank and back into the other side. And that's just so that you can see how much coolant you have in your reservoir. But I have a problem because if I mount this to the bed on the driver's side, I won't be able to see this. And I'm looking at this thing, and I see you have 2 holes here and also 2 holes here, so it almost seems like it's meant to be reversible because the holes are the exact same on either side. So I'm going to switch this over to here. It must be magic or something. Oh wow, look at that. On the bottom here, it's got a little knurled plug to drain the coolant out. That's pretty neat. Can't imagine when I would need to do that. Ever. Maybe every 10 years. It's like it's just some O-rings on there. I don't know if I'm gonna have to, yeah, I'll have to pull this tube. I just hate that this is chrome. Wonder if I could sand this and paint it. I'll be right back. Seems like I can sand and scratch this up. And later I will probably paint this either blue or black. I know the fuel tank is aluminum, but it's not chrome. Sorry if you love chrome a lot. That seems that is stripped. Alright, well, when you buy things that are really cheap online, you got to expect that a little bit. This one is going to connect to the radiator so that it can push fluid up, and then when it's ready to open up and suck coolant back into the radiator, it can just pull it back down inside this tank. This top one is just a breather so that the air has a place to go when this goes up and down with coolant. Obviously, your coolant's going to be a little bit different flavor than just plain hose water, but you can kind of see how that works. It just shows the level in this tank, and this water is really hot. I'm hoping that this little plastic tube doesn't melt. If it does, I'll just cap these holes up. What's nice about these kinds of containers is that you can use it for just about anything that holds fluid, where you don't need to have a pump inside the tank. You could buy a bunch of different sizes and use them for placement window washer fluid. Technically, you could use it as a steering reservoir since you don't need any pressure for steering. This could even make a good fuel tank for a really small engine. You could also use it for an oil catch can. You could use it for your coffee in the morning when you're camping. Possibilities are endless. So then, I'd like to mount it right about here. I can still get to this, to put water in it, or coolant. Come on over here, I'll show you what I'm doing. I assure you, I know exactly what I'm doing, almost. This is going to be a really short video today because I've got a lot of things to do. It is really hot, and I don't know if this is because my air conditioning hasn't been on for more than like an hour, but it's clear to me now that I'm going to have to insulate the rest of this shop. If you know how to drill a hole and put riv nuts in, this is probably the simplest install that you'll ever do. Unless, of course, you need to make a bracket or something, in which case, you're on your own. But if you need to mount it to something flat, I think it took me 5 minutes. Right, now we just got to go from the bottom here. Yeah, to the radiator. And you've got another, there'll be a drain to vent air, but also if coolant overflows, because there's just that much coolant in it, it could go into the bed of the truck, and I don't really care. Now, you could top your coolant off still by putting coolant in here, because what will happen is when your coolant gets hot, the pressure relief in this cap will let all the air out, and then the air will come down this line into the bottom of your reservoir and bubble up to the top of the reservoir. And then when your coolant cools down because your fan is working really good, or there's a fluctuation in heat, this will suck coolant back in because there's coolant on the bottom. And so you're constantly working to push air out and suck coolant in through the radiator cap. And because of that, you can mount your coolant reservoir wherever you like, as long as your tube that's connecting your reservoir to your radiator is connected to the bottom of the reservoir. That's a mouthful. Now, I'm not sure what pressure this is rated for. I'd have to look that up. Oh, 19 pounds. So 19 PSI inside this radiator. This cap opens up and lets your water or your coolant go through this little hole. It goes down your tube. So now I filled this full to the brim when I put this radiator on, and I put these coolant tubes that go to the front of the truck, and it's drained down to about this mark. I'm really hoping that's because it was going past the little weep hole in the thermostat to fill up the engine block, because that would be about that much water. Really hoping that it's not draining past the head gasket and into the engine. I guess I'll know when I change or check the oil next. You buy these parts online, you don't really know what you're getting until later. Well, let me fill up some water. Oh, my light's going in and out. That's nice. I'm really gonna have to have a shop day. Let's go ahead and put some milk inside here. Do you think Jeep trucks like to drink milk? Just for testing purposes, I want to see if I can actually fill this fuel tank using the jerry can that I have. That is not sealing. This is the problem that I was worried about. How am I going to pour fuel in there? It's ridiculous. Well, that's leaking. Son of a gun. All right. Nope, that's leaking. Oh man. Okay, here we go. Now it might have enough fuel to start the thing. Outstanding. I'm experimenting with t-shirts. I don't know if I want to make them myself using bleach and dyes and things like that, or pay a company to actually make them and send them and take all the money. If I do them myself, I'll know for a fact that they're 100% not perfect. Not everybody wants something that's imperfect. They want something that's nice and pristine. And I can't believe those are 7 feet long. I'm not buying 7 foot long fluorescent lights. Who does that? I do have one more thing to try. Is fuel bad for copper? I don't know if it breaks copper down. I have this filler neck, and this is what I originally used on the fuel tank until I got one that had the spacing on the back to actually, you know, do the thing. Just extend the tube down, and then that could be an option for me. What I could do is mount this right to here somewhere, which wouldn't look bad. And I could put a hose that goes from the bottom of here to the top of the fuel filler. This one doesn't have any flange or anything on the outside. I would have to actually weld something, and then I'll still be able to see this. And I've got a filler for my fuel and a filler for my coolant. This would be cool if I can make this work somehow. It's got a door that opens. I mean, I'll end up putting this somewhere, or just scrap it. If anybody needs a Jeep Comanche fuel door, let me know, because I've got one. I've got the whole thing. I'm thinking about stealing this, though. Maybe that's not a crazy idea. Maybe if I took this out, put it on top of here like this, I could still fill the fuel right here. I'm gonna figure something out, but I'm gonna go ahead and brainstorm the fuel filler idea for now. I have too many other things to do, so next weekend, if you watch this channel, I'm going to be doing some insulation on this wall and putting some shelves up. So if you're excited about that, then it's really going to help me organize this shop. This place has been a wreck since I moved in, just because I don't have anywhere to put things except for that little corner right there, that tiny little shelf, which is completely full. I mean, if you've seen any Black and Blue Garage video, you'll know that my shop has been a struggle to keep clean. I think it's time to get some shelves and to get some panels up and insulate it, and it'll be nicer in here. I think tomorrow I'm going to be working on construction type stuff. Anyways, thanks for watching. It's 100% not perfect. I assure you, I know exactly what I'm doing. Almost.